Hey there, everybody. It's my first time going live in this group. For those of you watching this on YouTube, we'll link you to the group below. I wanted to tell you, and I'm going to keep it brief, but I wanted to share my Atlantis story with you. I actually shared it with a client today, and I realized that I never came on video to share my story with you. And sort of why I feel qualified to be talking to you about soul tribes and how my path has been impacted by understanding my soul tribe, which is Lemurian, but I identify with two soul tribes, and you may as well. I identify as Atlantean, even though I am Lemurian on a soul level. So my soul tribe is Lemurian, but I was one of the souls that helped Atlantis get established. And so my whole life, essentially, when I was Lemurian, was based in Atlantis. And so you may have something like that going on as well, but that's why I identify with two different soul tribes. Now, I want to keep this video focused on the history of how I discovered my Atlantis lifetime. It was actually in 2014. That was the first year I was on my spiritual path, as I call it these days. And I was very new to energy work. I actually didn't know anything about it before 2014. I was just in a totally different vibe, I guess you could say, unaware of this whole arena of information, anything about the universe. I knew the term universe on a very sort of global scientific scale, not really anything to do with souls, energy work, spirit, etc. So I had someone that I was friends with at the time who said she was going to do a past life regression with me. And again, I'm only like maybe 6 months into my spiritual path at this time. And I knew it had something to do with Atlantis, only because for me, Atlantis was just so ever present in my thoughts all the time. Even as I was growing up as a little kid, my brother and I used to play on the carpet in our room, and we used to talk about Atlantis, and we were like 7 years old. We never heard Atlantis anywhere. There were no cartoons at the time about Atlantis. Like, my parents never talked about Atlantis. And my brother has had a lifetime the same time as me in Atlantis. So that's where that was coming from. But essentially, I had this past life regression done with someone that I was friends with at the time. And I was having a very difficult time seeing my lifetime. And I didn't know this at the time because I was new to this, but the reason that I had a difficult time seeing it was because it was profoundly traumatic. The lifetime was very, very traumatic for me. And I'll share my story with you on what I went through in that lifetime someday, hopefully soon. But essentially, that's why I wasn't getting all of this information. I'm a strong clairvoyant. In fact, all of my clairs are really strong. And so I didn't really have any trouble seeing. The reason that I was having trouble seeing was because it was trauma in this lifetime, and it wasn't time for me to see it. And what this girl did was she shared her sight with me. And what happened when she did that was I saw something, my lifetime, that I wasn't ready to see. And that sent me into a tailspin of probably 2 to 3 months of shock, physical shock in this lifetime. I remember dreaming about Atlantis and waking up in cold sweats, which never happened before this past life regression. Now, past life regressions should not cause us problems once we come out of the regression, like with what happened to me. That should never happen from a past life regression. And sharing your sight with someone, and I'll go into the story of why I feel this was meant to happen, but sharing your sight with someone is not something you want to do. At least it's not something I do when you work with me. And I don't do it because when you're ready to see it, you will see it. I don't need to share anything with you or force you or manipulate your energy in any way to get you to see something. And so it's something you really want to watch out for. And it's something you want to be kind to yourself. You'll get there when you're meant to get there. You'll see it when you're meant to see it. And it will be when your guides deem it safe for you. When your soul says, okay, you're ready. Sometimes we're not quite ready when we want to see something. And you can tell, because it's like the more you want to see it, the more you can't see it. You know what I mean? Have you ever had that? Like the more you want something, it just seems so elusive, like it's always really far away. And so that's something to pay attention to. That's a call to acceptance. That's a call to take a step back and go, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to get this when I need to get it. I'm going to see it when I need to see it. Trust me, the universe knows you want it. The universe knows you want to see it. But you could end up in a position like me if you force it, where this caused a lot of trauma in my space, because the regression was done in a way that I re-experienced the lifetime live. I felt like I was standing there. That's not how I approach past life regressions. I have you witness it like you're watching a movie. They're very different energies. There's absolutely zero reason to re-experience a past life. It's in the past. It's gone. It's no longer present. There's no reason to be re-experiencing it live and going through trauma a second time. It's just silly to me. There's no reason for that. So we watch it like a movie when we do regressions. When you work with me, we watch it like a movie. And I have a process for going through this, okay? It's still a regression / hypnosis, whatever we want to call it. I think it's just more of a regression / visioning / Akashic Records work. I have kind of my own mix of how I do all this, but I wanted to share that because that's the reason that I don't share my site with you. And that's the reason that if we don't see what you think you want to see in the first try of a regression, it's because there may be other things coming up that when we work through these layers and we clear them, right? It's getting you closer to seeing that. So we just have to honor what comes up in the session and just go with that and be open and receptive to having the lifetime come to us when it's ready, because it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. You will get there with the vision. You will open up the site. This will be something that you get to experience and see again, but it will be from a place of non-attachment. And you won't need to re-experience the trauma. We're going to focus on it for the lessons and for the healing, and then we're going to leave it in the past. And so because of what I went through in 2014, when I saw my Atlantis lifetime for the very first time, it sent me into a very traumatic 2 to 3 month period where I had constant hot and cold sweats, waking up in the middle of the night. My dreams were of me screaming, crying, waking up in feeling like I was going through it in the moment. And that's, nobody needs to go through that. So that's why I do my work very differently. You have a very different experience with my work than what mine was. And so I feel like even though that happened with me, it happened for me to be able to share the story, but most of all, for me to be able to learn what not to do. And so I've been through a lot of things like that on my spiritual path, things that people did with my energy in my space. And I'm not saying this from a blame perspective. I'm saying it from I do believe I've gone through these things to learn the way that it should not be done. And so take my experience and learn from it. And you can always, I advised my client on this earlier, you can always pray before you go to bed for insight into your lifetime or insight into what pattern you're struggling with, and it will come up in your dreams. And you are the creator of your dreams, so you can say, I don't want this to come up in a traumatic way. I want it to come up in a loving way that's easy and clear for me to understand. And you can also have those same intentions in meditation. And you can look up your lifetimes in meditation. My favorite way to look at lifetimes, of course, is in the Akashic Records. That's what my background is in. But even these sessions that I'm doing on soul tribes, if you want to discover your soul tribe, I'm doing that in a different way. It's just a regression. So I'm working with the Akashic Records, but you're not necessarily seeing that part on the session. So I hope this story helped you, and I would love to hear your feedback. I didn't have anyone live with me, but I would love to hear your thoughts. And today was a casual day, so excuse my vibe here. I was definitely feeling very cold today, and I stayed like this all day. Anyway, I'm sending you all my love. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you have not joined my Soul Tribes group, which is totally free, please come and join us. And I would love to hear what you think your soul tribe is. And I'm going to be publishing so much information about this, you guys. There's one blog and video going out a week, at least for the next 5 months. So whether you are from Atlantis, Palladian, Mayan, Lemurian, or an elemental, I've got a lot of information coming to you in the next 5 months. We're going to focus 1 month on each soul tribe, and there are more soul tribes. This is only what I'm working on right now. We have a lot more we're going to be covering in the next year, probably. So anyway, sending you all my love, and I will see you guys soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.